What's up, Dave?
What's up? What do you up to?
Just doing a podcast. Just doing a
Yep.
podcast.
All right.
Oh,
And we are, hey, what's up?
This is
All
Dave
right,
Sandagen, man.
What's
That's
happening?
the champ right there, dude. That's the fucking champ right there.
How's it going?
Only of
We're actually we're live. We're going.
All right. Oh, we're live. Let's go, bitch.
Yeah, I get it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 podcast. And it is me, Huzaifa, and the professional fighter Justin James. And we just had to do a episode today. We wanted to actually originally talk about the Sandagen versus Cheeto Vera fight, which we're definitely going to do as well. We still want to talk about that, but it's crazy because just a couple hours ago, I think 3 hours ago, Dana White made a massive announcement. And this is such a trip. And I want to talk about it because we had talked about it theoretically. And I think it was somewhat being circulated in the media, but I really thought this was fantasy. I didn't think this was going to happen. And the first thing we want to talk about is the official announcement of Conor McGregor versus Chandler on The Ultimate Fighter, which is so cool. I really didn't think it was going to happen. I think it's going to be hilarious. And I want to give a couple details that was just announced in this article by Mark Ramundi on ESPN.com. So they're going to coach against each other. It's supposed to air, and then they're likely going to fight at welterweight at 170 pounds, which I think everybody kind of thought was going to happen. And then it's going to air from May 30th to August 15th. So I guess we'll see them queuing up for a fight somewhere in August or September. And I think this makes sense too, because McGregor's out of the USADA testing pool, so he'll need 6 months. So that all that timing kind of works out perfectly. But anyways, this is just such a crazy announcement. Like, what are your thoughts, Justin? Being a fighter?
I mean, this is exciting, man. We talked about, Tony Ferguson or Mike Chandler. I think Mike is the better go around. Now, from a comedic standpoint, Tony's kind of a goofy guy, which would be essentially loading Conor up with ammunition to fire throughout the show. But I tell you what, Mike has a personality, man. He's a really nice guy, but you get under his skin, which I know Conor McGregor is doing too. There's going to be fireworks, and not to mention when this fight does happen. I mean, Mike Chandler's heavy-handed in both hands. He has incredible wrestling. Is Conor McGregor going to be able to figure out the puzzle again like he did Eddie Alvarez? Because that's kind of how I see this fight, similar to, is more like an Eddie Alvarez style. But that's Pete Conor at his best performance. He's lost his last 4 out of 5. I think it's 4 out of 5. He's coming off that nasty leg break. Is he going to be the same Conor McGregor that we saw, 5 years ago knocking out Jose Aldo?
I don't know. It's just there's so many questions like that. How is the recovery going with the leg? How, he's looking in great shape, and then I don't know. It's such a fascinating fight, and I really do think if from the fight perspective, you're right, and I actually do think it probably will be pretty entertaining. It's going to be entertaining. I'm going to watch The Ultimate Fighter, and when I do watch it, I normally just watch the fights and I kind of skip through the rest of it.
Sure.
Now I'm definitely not going to do that. I cannot wait. Like, this is going to be amazing television. But also from just regardless of whoever's in there with Conor, right? It's going to be so funny. But from actually matching up an amazing fight, there you couldn't do any better than putting Conor McGregor against Michael Chandler. The fight's going to be insane, and it's fascinating too. Will the precision? This is kind of what I've been reading or hearing is like that. That's that question. Will that precision that Conor has? Will it find its target and kind of sharpshoot his chin or something like that? I don't know, but
I mean, but there we go. That's the only way he can win. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to talk about MMA. This isn't boxing. This isn't kickboxing. This isn't wrestling. This isn't grappling. We have so many different aspects, and that's what you just mentioned, and I'm sure everyone's thinking is, oh, will he have that precision to land that one clean left shot? But unfortunately, that's what Conor McGregor has. I'm really hoping that Mike Chandler takes this fight smart, does it serious, doesn't get overexcited, doesn't get overzealous, doesn't try to pursue too much, because that's when you get a counter with that left. I really like to see Mike take his time, chop apart that front leg, and really see if there's any durability on his back leg.
Right. So you would start out, and if you were fighting Conor, like, that's how you would start out is calf kicks. Like,
yeah, I really think you got to break that base, because Michael Chandler is going to have a reach disadvantage here. So in turn, he might play back and then blitz in. Well, that's kind of what, Jose Aldo tried to do, and look how it worked out for him. Conor's looking for that great straight left on the pipe. He's waiting for the blitz on these guys. And as you guys saw, years ago, I don't know, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever it was, when Jose Aldo come in, feint, then blitz, bang, one left hand, sleep. Now, Michael Chandler might have a better chin, especially at 170. We're not going to have to worry about the dehydrated brain, as we like to call here, because of, he's going up to 170. So he's not going to be depleting his body. His brain's going to be fully hydrated. He might be able to weather a couple of those shots. And after, if Conor lands a couple of those shots and doesn't knock him out, we might see an upside there. I'm big Michael Chandler fan. I think Michael Chandler is going to be the betting favorite in this fight. Conor McGregor just hasn't been the same Conor McGregor since becoming rich. Michael Chandler's lost a couple in a row now, but look at who he's fought. I mean, he's fought killers, man. He just knocked out Tony Ferguson brutally. I don't know if that was his last fight or one fight prior, but then you have the fight of the night with Justin Gaethje. I mean, this guy's hungry. This guy knows this is a payday. This is probably going to be the biggest payday he's ever got. He's going to be training hard. He always looks like a freaking statue when he's coming in the ring. Just looks like a physique model, essentially. He's going to be in great shape. I'm edging Chandler out, and I'd really like to see him attack the front leg of Conor, maybe even get him to switch his stance and then go to his back leg.
Yeah, and his last fight, by the way, was against Poirier. So he beat Ferguson, then he lost to Poirier, but had a great fight against Poirier. And there were moments in that fight too where even Poirier admitted that he was in big trouble. So that was a crazy fight. And I don't remember the last time I've seen Chandler go for a takedown, but is that something you expect to see as well against Conor?
Unfortunately, I don't expect it. I mean, and these guys are getting paid millions of dollars. When you're getting that kind of check, why? You want this fight to be exciting. I really feel that Mike's wrestling, he could really grind this out. He could really take Conor into deep water with his wrestling and his grappling. But that's not what I want to see. That's not what you want to see. That's not what Dana White wants to see. I'm not saying there is, but maybe there's a little, hey, look, if you keep this on your feet, there's a little bonus here. I'm not saying that could happen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility of saying, hey, I'll give you an extra $100,000 if you don't shoot on him. I look at the Eddie Alvarez fight from years ago. Why didn't Eddie try to take Conor McGregor down? He's at a clear striking disadvantage. He's at a clear range disadvantage, and he didn't try to wrestle him hardly the whole time. You look at Chad Mendes against Conor McGregor. Chad takes the fight on short notice, takes Conor down, bloodies him up, holds him down, gasses out, ends up losing the fight. Why? If you take Chad Mendes' style and then put in Mike Chandler's body, there's no reason Mike shouldn't win this fight.
Interesting. I mean, I would say, I know you said, hey, that's not what we'd want to see. Actually, me as a fan, I just want to see a good fight and good strategy. So if it did go to that, I would be excited regardless. But anyways, I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I'm spoiled because, I'm at Extreme Couture right now. I'm in Ryan Couture's office. I'm watching all these fighters go by. If I want to watch good fights, I'm going to go to Tuesday, Thursday sparring and watch world-class fighters spar. Technically, when I'm watching events, when I'm watching the UFC, kind of you look at me, I had a wrestling base. I have no interest in wrestling in the UFC. I wasn't given incentive not to wrestle. It's just I wanted to put on fights for the show. And I think that's Mike Chandler has a similar attitude towards that. And, I'm excited for the fight, dude. These guys are going to be rich either way, regardless of how it goes. I think from a game plan strategic point of view, Mike Chandler really needs to focus on chopping that front leg up and engaging in wrestling. But from a fan perspective, I want to see a street fight. I want to see a brawl. I want to see Justin Gaethje, Mike Chandler fight every single weekend. And if I want to watch a technical fight, I'll just go to sparring on Tuesday, Thursday, Extreme Couture.
All right, fair enough. Well, I can't wait for this. So hopefully, I don't know, sometime in August or September, we'll be seeing this fight. But all right, let's move on to another really, really cool matchup in the bantamweight division, Sandagen versus Chito Vera. I'm very excited about this fight. It was originally scheduled for February 18th, and I think it was going to be in the Apex, and now they moved it to March 25th, and now it's going to be in San Antonio at the AT&T Center. So I don't know if you've trained with either of these guys. I'm actually a really big fan of both of them, but wanted to get your thoughts at this matchup. I think it's a really interesting matchup.
Chito and I have the same manager, Jason House, Iridium Sports. So I'm a Vera fan. I really like the matchup here for him. He's on a little bit of a heater now, and I feel that he's under. What's up, Randy? I feel he's under the radar. Even after the whole Sean O'Malley thing, he finished Sean O'Malley. Sean still says he's undefeated because of the knee injury. But Chito was in the fight, man. It wasn't like he was getting his ass whooped and just got unlucky. This kid's tough. This kid's hungry. I think he's flying under the radar. I think he's going to be an underdog in this fight, and I'm stacking my money on Chito Vera.
Yeah, I love Chito. I think he's I love his interviews. He's so just chill and such a cool guy. What do you think about and also I'm a big fan of Sandagen too. What do you think about kind of how the two match up in terms of, I'm pretty sure Corey's got to have a reach advantage, right? And
I do think Sandagen does have a reach advantage, and this is just, these are two striking geniuses. They're very unorthodox. They're going to be throwing a lot of strikes from different angles. I mean, this could be a one-punch finish show. But I would expect this to go to decision, and I really think Cheeto's going to grind him out long-term in this decision.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I've heard from other shows and other folks is like he's going to put that pressure on him and grind it out. Cool. Well, that one's going to be really, really interesting. There's another topic that I wanted to touch on today, and we brought it up a little bit before the show, but that's going to be, and what we're gonna end it with is Kamaru Usman's knees. And the reason why I thought it was interesting to chat about is we got this big title fight coming up with Leon Edwards in London, which is another fight that I can't. I mean, this year is bananas. Like all these fights are going to be so amazing.
Hey, we're only in February, buddy. We're only in February.
I know, it's wild. There's so many fights that have been announced from now until April, which is crazy. Really, really amazing fights. The Pereira rematch has been announced, like all these things. So, but Kamaru versus Leon is going to be really cool. I was just heard on Joe Rogan in 2 different excerpts. They were talking about Kamaru Usman because he's open about this apparently. And his knees are, he has some major knee problems. So let me tell you what I've heard. And I know you trained with him, and I want to get your perspective on this and just to know what your thoughts are in terms of how it will impact the fight. But apparently, this is what was said on the Rogan podcast, is that he a lot of times will walk on grass, not on concrete, just walking, because it's less painful on his knees. He is in a lot of pain. He doesn't run. He does, I think, like the Aerodyne machine, and does other training for cardio to get his really good cardio, but like he can't run. And apparently, and again, this is something we're going to talk to you about because you've trained with him, but apparently he has to walk downstairs backwards, and that's how bad his knees have gotten. And he said that once he's done fighting, once he hangs it up, he's going to have both knees replaced. So first of all, when you hear something like this and that they're about to have a title fight with Leon Edwards, young guy, in great shape as far as we can tell, like how do you think that impacts this fight and this outcome?
Well, yeah, I mean, if this is, I've only trained with Jacoby. I've only trained with him a couple times, so it's not like we're boys or anything. Nothing in his training that I ever thought that he had knee injuries. With that being said, with his wrestling base, it is a very common injury, and most of these guys in here, we all have some kind of injury. Like I just had neck surgery, I had hand surgery last year, then I had nose surgery the year before that. So I'm not saying that it's fake or not. It's just something that he's dealt with, for however long. And yeah, that definitely can hurt his performance. Maybe that's why he's not wrestling as much anymore, because you need your knees to wrestle. You need to be able to change your level, and that all starts with your knees and your hips. So maybe that's again why he's not wrestling. I'd really like to see him come out and try and wrestle Edwards to get his title back. More like a George St. Pierre style, like pick him apart and then wrestle when need be. But again, if he's dealing with, I've seen him walk up and down stairs only 3 to 5 steps at a time, but I've never seen him walk backwards. With that being said, I've never paid attention to it either. And I was unaware of it till now, but I mean, he's one of the all-time greats. If he wins this title back, which I expect him to, he's going to be right up there to me with GSP. But again, hurt knees, you can't wrestle, man. You just took away one of your best attributes.
Man, yeah. I mean, definitely if he wins, it's going to be incredible. Do you think that could be part of the reason too why Leon was able to take him down?
Absolutely. You know what? It could be a mix of that, of not expecting the takedown. I mean, I don't know about you, but I did not expect Leon Edwards to come in there and try and take him down. I mean, he had been taken down one time prior to that in the whole UFC, and Leon Edwards, who isn't known to be some incredible wrestler, comes in, takes him down in the first period. That really, to me, set the pace. I was like, all right, this guy came here to fight. I thought he lost 2, 3, and 4, and then he gets knocked out in 5, or then Usman gets knocked out in 5. But still, you're absolutely right. Maybe that did play a factor, and injuries, even I tell you what, when I've broken my feet in fights, I might not feel it, but you can definitely see my steps are different. My movement's different. Even though I don't feel the pain in the moment, my body's definitely still compensating. His might be doing the same.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you mentioned, we are talking about that idea of like, hey, that unknown element and mixing it up. I just wanted to quickly throw this out there too. I just heard an interview with Bas Rutten talking about the Makhachev fight versus Volkanovski. And he was saying, he said, I'm going to put my money on Volkanovski. He was just very impressed by him. But just to bring this up quickly, he said, if I was coaching Volkanovski, and this kind of goes back to that idea, he's like, I would tell him to constantly threaten the takedown, just to mix it up, just to keep him guessing, even though he knows maybe he would get out wrestled, but just keep on doing things that would be totally out of the blue. And I guess we could say the same thing or kind of a similar principle of like why Leon went in for that takedown, or probably do something similar, I suppose, in the rematch?
Think of it just like the NFL. We have the Super Bowl coming up, so I'll talk a little bit about that. Like, it's like run the ball, play action, pass, send it deep. You know what I'm saying? The same thing. Threaten the takedown, feint the takedown, bang, bang. Now you can start sending up those nasty leg kicks. And what's up, Ryder Newman coming up, title fight coming up. Former Tough, speaking of Tough, one of the guys on
cool.
Tough. But what was I talking about? Yeah, I mean, and that'd be a great game plan, and it'd be unexpected. Do I expect Volkanovski to do that? No, I don't. Because with the fear of he shoots in, that he might give up a takedown there. He slips, get in a front headlock situation. Now he gets his back taken. Now is that takedown worth it? I think the feinting and more of the clean breaks, more like a snatch single where he can grab the leg and then let it go if he finds himself in danger. But I really think changing his level and shooting for double legs is not going to be in his favor here, because once Islam gets on top or takes his back, the round could be over.
All right, well, we're going to definitely talk more about that fight because that's happening in exactly a week. So we'll definitely do that. We just touched on it, I guess, briefly, sort of by chance here. But anyways, that is it for today's podcast or today's little show here. And we will see you guys next time. If you did like this video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, make sure to click subscribe. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. All right.